Good morning, everyone. Let's start this engineering mechanics lecture. So this is the second lecture. In the first lecture, we have seen the introduction of the subject. So today we are going to discuss about the course structure and syllabus. So the engineering mechanics, this complete subject, it has two sections. One is a theory course and second is the laboratory. Okay. So you have individual credit for a theory course and the laboratory. So theory course, its course code is FEC 104. So this is first year engineering. C stands for course and this is subject code 104. And for laboratory, we have FEL 103. So FE is the first year engineering, L is for laboratory, and 103 it is the course code. So under theory course, we will have 3 classes per week. Then practical, that is for laboratory, it is 2 hours for each batch, okay, per week. Then under theory course, you have internal assessment exam, okay. So this is 2 compulsory class tests, each will carry 20 marks, okay. So it is approximately first test, it is on the 40% syllabus, okay. So this will be conducted after 1.5 months when your semester 1 will start actually, okay. And remaining test, that is the second test, it will be conducted on the remaining 40% syllabus. So each test, it has 20 marks. So this is your internal exam. Then end semester university exam. So it carries 80 marks and it is on the entire syllabus. Okay. So in your syllabus, you have total 6 modules. Okay. So we will see it afterwards. So weightage of this 80 marks during your final semester exam, which is a university exam. So it depends on the modules and number of teaching hours per module. Okay. So total theory weightage, it is for 100 marks. So 80 plus this internal assessment, 20 marks. Okay. So this theory course, it is completely for 100 marks. Then this is the laboratory structure, that is your experiment. So laboratory, that is the practicals. So for each batch, there will be 2 hours for the practical per week. Then laboratory work, it carries 20 marks. So this laboratory work, it includes experiment write-up and the assignments. Okay. So this complete evaluation, assignment plus experiment, it will have 20 marks. So the distribution will be 10 plus 10, 10 for assignment and 10 for experiment. Then your semester attendance, it will have 5 marks. Okay. So this 20 plus 5, this total term work for semester 1 for engineer mechanics laboratory. So it is for 25 marks. Okay. Then at the end of your semester, there will be oral exam, which is called as a Viva. Okay. So this oral exam, it will carry 25 marks. So this is your external oral exam, which is conducted on behalf of university. Okay. So total laboratory, it will carry 25 marks term work and 25 marks for the oral exam. So it is a 50 mark. Okay. So this engineering mechanics subject, it carries 150 marks. So total subject, it is for 150 marks. So theory, that is a course, that is a theory part. So it has 100 marks and your laboratory, it has 50 marks. Okay, so this is your marks distribution for this subject, that is for laboratory and theory cases. Okay. Now this engineering mechanics subject, it has two sections. One is the static and the dynamic. Okay. So when we start with the actual syllabus, there will be some modules or some chapters will be from static part and some chapters will be from the dynamics part. Okay. So during the introduction, that is the first lecture, we have seen what is meaning of static and dynamics. So the static means the branch of engineering mechanics which deals with the effect of forces on the bodies which are at rest. That means not moving. So we will do the force analysis on the bodies which are at the rest condition. That is called as the static part. So in the example, force calculation in the cables supporting the electricity pole. Then second example is calculation of forces in truss member. So what is the meaning of truss member? We have seen the railway bridge, which is made up of number of steel elements. Okay, so this is called as a truss member. Then the calculation of friction. Okay, so these are some examples of the static calculation. So in all these examples, the bodies or the objects, they will be at the rest condition, that is the stationary. Then second section is the dynamics. So in the dynamic, it is a branch of engineering mechanics which deals with the effect of the forces on the bodies which are in the motion. Okay. So what is the example for the dynamics? Projectile motion analysis. That means if you throw one object, okay, and if you know the initial velocity and initial angle of projection, then you can find out its range. Also, you can find out its maximum height and the velocity with which the object will hit the ground. Okay, so this calculation, it is part of the dynamics, where we are analyzing the complete motion from the starting point to the end point with the help of some equations. So generally we use the equations of motions. Okay. Then second example, the use of equations of motion. Okay. So the projectile motion, it is analyzed with the help of the equation of motion. Then use of NSL for the moving objects. So NSL means it is the Newton's second law. Okay, where we use the equation F is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, so this equation we will use for the moving objects. The next, calculation of energy and power. Okay, so these are some examples where we will do the force analysis as well as the motion analysis. Okay, so this is the part of dynamics. So this is how engineering mechanics is divided. One is the static part and second is the dynamics part. So here you can see the examples for the static calculation. So the first example here, it is the suspension bridge. So you must have seen such type of suspension bridge. So in the suspension bridge, when engineer design such type of structures, they will try to find out how much tension is developed in these supporting cables. So these supporting cables will carry the complete weight of this rod. Okay, so here you can see some of the vectors. So these vectors, they represent the distributed load because of that weight. Okay, because this rod, it is made up of a cement concrete. Okay, So it will have the mixture of RCC and steel bars. So this complete weight, it will act in the downward direction. So that is shown here with the help of these vectors. Now, in order to keep this rod in the equilibrium position or equilibrium state, this weight, it must be supported by these cables. Okay. So these cables will be subjected to huge amount of tension. Okay. So the calculation of this tension, that is the forces developed in these cables. So this part, it is analyzed with the help of the static calculation. Okay, so this is one example where we calculate the tension in this suspension cables. Second example is it is the water dam. Okay, so here you can observe. So this is the wall of the dam. And this is the backwater. Okay. So this backwater will create the pressure on this structure. So this structure, that is a wall. So it is made up of this cement concrete. And here you can observe one triangle. So basically this triangle, it represents the pressure distribution from the free surface of the water up to the bottom surface. Okay. Suppose this total height, that is the depth of water, it is the H. So at the bottommost point, that is at this point, there will be maximum pressure. And this pressure will gradually decrease as we reach to the free surface of the water. Okay. So engineers will calculate this pressure distribution or pressure variation, okay, from the bottommost point up to the free surface of the water. Okay. So its formula, so it is rho GH. So this is the pressure that depends on this H height. And then we will calculate this pressure distribution. And on this pressure distribution, we will design this structure. Okay. So this design of structure, that is the design of wall of that water dam. So this calculation, it depends on the static analysis. Okay. So this is the second example. So forces on the concrete wall of the hydro dam. Next is the forces on the lever of a machine. So the common example for the lever, it is the brake lever. Okay, that is a brake lever in the automobile, that is in the four-wheeler or in the two-wheeler. In the last lecture, I have shown you one lever, that is a brake lever. Okay. So this calculation, again, it depends on the static part. So here one example is shown. So this is the lever. And this is the pivot point for that lever. Pivot point means this lever, it can freely rotate about this pivot point. Okay. So here some forces are shown. And there is one moment. Okay. This moment is created with the help of the forces. So this is F and F. And there is some perpendicular distance, that is the D. Okay. So when we apply this moment at this point, then this moment will try to rotate this lever in this direction about this pivot point. Okay. And if there are some cables connected, so here you can see these are the cables and these are the forces which are developed in that cable. Okay. So because of the rotation of this lever, when we apply the moment or the force at this point, the cables are subjected to some forces. Okay, so here direct values are given, but with the help of the static calculation, we can find out the exact values of this cable tension in the cable. Okay, so this is done with the help of the static calculation part. And here the actual image of the suspension bridge. Okay, so this is the simplified for calculation purpose, and this is the actual structure. Okay, so these are the suspension cables. So you can see here. So actually these cables, so these cables are used to support the weight of this concrete road. So another example for the static is, so calculation of the forces in the automobiles. Okay, so actually you can see here. So this complete part, it is supported on the chassis. Okay, so there is one steel frame. So you must have seen this steel frame in the truck. Okay. So if you observe the steel frame from the rear side, then its cross section is either I section. Okay. So in 3 dimension, or sometimes it is a rectangle, or C type. Okay, so such type of frames, so actually these are called as a beams. Okay, so they support the complete load of the automobile, and in order to design this thickness, we need to consider all the forces. So here all the forces are shown. So engineer consider these forces and then design such type of frames. Okay, so this is again a part of static calculation. The next example, it is the dynamics. So here in the dynamic part, we will do the motion analysis by considering the forces. Okay, so here in the simple example is, so this trolley, it is pulled by a person. So he applies a force of 50 Newton at an angle of 30 degree. Okay, so this girl will have some weight. So let us take this weight. I will take this in directly in Newton. So it 50 kg, that will correspond to 500 Newton. Okay, so this 500 Newton will act exactly in the y direction. Okay, so in order to move this 500 Newton, he applies a force of 50 Newton at an angle of 30 degree. Okay. So actual motion of this trolley, it is on the right side. That is along positive x direction. So for the calculation, we have to consider only the force which will act parallel to x-axis, because some part of that 50 Newton will act in the y direction. Okay, but the y direction force, it has no role for the rightward motion. Okay, so some part will act in this direction, and I will take this as a fx, and because of the fx, this trolley will get some acceleration. Okay, because we know that force is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, so by using the dynamic calculation part, we can find out what is the acceleration. Okay, so this is a simple example for the dynamics part where we are analyzing the motion. Second example is the projectile motion. So you must have studied this in your 11th projectile motion chapter. Suppose a ball, it is being projected with some initial velocity, that is the u, at an angle theta. Okay, so this velocity will have x component, which is the u cos theta, and y component u sin theta. Okay, so these are the initial conditions. So by taking this initial velocity, initial angle of projection, we can find out what is the maximum height, what is the range, that is the maximum horizontal distance, and even you can find out when that object, that is the ball, will hit the ground, then what is the velocity. This is called as a landing velocity. So it is taken as a v. Okay, so this v velocity, it is again composed of two components. One is v cos theta, and second is the v sin theta. This is called as the x component, and this is the y component. So by using equations of motions, we can find out what is the maximum height, what is maximum distance, that is the range, and also what is the landing velocity. So this is again example of the dynamic calculation. Okay, so these are the examples or the applications of static and dynamics. So now we will see the actual syllabus. So syllabus, as you know, it is divided into statics and dynamics. So there are some chapters or modules from the static and some modules are from the dynamics. So the module 1, it is from the static. Okay, so we will consider the forces acting on the bodies which are at rest, and then we will do the force calculation. So module 1, it has 3 sections. One is section 1.1, 1.2, and this is 1.3. So 1.1, it has a system of coplanar forces. Okay, so we will only study the coplanar forces. Meaning of coplanar means the forces which will lie in a single plane. Okay, so if I consider a box or a cube, so this cube has a different faces. So one is ABCD, and suppose there are different forces lies in the different plane like this. Okay, so here I have shown the forces lying in each face of that cube. So in the first module, we will only discuss the forces lying in the single plane. Okay, suppose we consider ABCD as a one plane, then we have to consider the forces lying in this plane only. Okay, so this is called as a coplanar force system. So we will discuss in detail when we will start the module 1 actual mathematical calculations. Okay, so in this section 1.1, we will discuss the system of coplanar forces. So we will study the classification of force system. Okay, then principle of transmissibility, how the force is transmissible, then composition and resolution of forces. Actually, you must have studied this, the composition and the resolution of forces. So this will be just an revision. So just I will give the idea what is meaning of resolution of forces. So there is one force of 50 Newton. Okay. And here the point is O. So force is acting at 50 Newton at the origin. Okay. And this is your y-axis. And this is the x-axis. So you have to find out if the force 50 Newton, it is acting at 45 degree. So what is the amount of this force acting in the positive x direction and acting in the positive y direction? So that is called as a resolution. Okay. So you find out the effect of force in the x direction and effect of force in the y direction. So here you can directly write the value as it is 45 degree and this is 50. So as per trigonometry, this is 50 cos 45 and this is 50 sin 45. Okay. So I will show this how to calculate these components. So this is called as a resolution. Okay. That means you divide the force along x direction and along y direction. So we will study this in detail in this section, composition and the resolution of forces. So this is your complete section 1.1. Okay. In the section 1.2, we will find out the resultant. Okay. So in the resultant, so what is basically a resultant? If there are number of forces acting on one object, okay, then we will find out the net effect of all the forces. That is called as a resultant force. Okay. So I will give a simple idea. So this is one rigid object. Okay. So you can consider this as a stone. And this stone is subjected to different forces in different directions like this. Okay. Suppose this is 50, 60, 70, 80 and 90. And if you want to find out because of these forces, in which direction this stone will move. Okay. That means this stone will have motion in one direction. Okay. So you have to find out that direction. Okay. For that, you have to find out what is the net effect of these all forces. That is called as a resultant force. So you can simplify this diagram by the net effect. So it is the same stone. And suppose the resultant act in this direction. So this is called as a net effect. That means we are replacing all these 5 forces by a single force. Okay. In the resultant direction, this stone will have the motion. Okay. Or it will have the tendency to move. So this resultant calculation we will discuss in the section 1.2. That means we will replace all the forces by a single force. It will have the same effect as that of original system. So in the resultant, we will discuss resultant of coplanar, non-coplanar, that is called as space forces. Okay. So here we have to study non-coplanar forces. In the section 1.1, we will only discuss the coplanar forces, forces lying in the single plane. In the section 1.2, we will discuss resultant of coplanar forces and non-coplanar. Then we will discuss concurrent forces, parallel forces, non-concurrent, non-parallel. So these are called as the general forces. Okay. After this, we will study moment. Okay, so you know what is the meaning of moment? Moment, it is the rotational effect because of the forces, and mathematically it is given by force into perpendicular distance. That is a Newton meter. Okay. So moment is force into D. So this is a moment formula. Unit is Newton meter. So moment of force about a point. Then we will study couple. Then Varignan's theorem. Then force couple system and distributed force in a plane. So we will study this in detail when we will start the module 1. After this, we will study this centroid. Okay. So centroid is nothing but the geometrical center of the plane lamina. So this term, it's quite similar with the center of gravity. Okay. So you know the concept of center of gravity. So what is meaning of center of gravity? So it is the point through which the complete weight of that object, okay, will act in the downward direction, or complete weight is supposed to be concentrated at that point. Okay, so that is called as a centroid. So center of gravity, which is a CG. Okay, so this term, it is used for the three-dimensional object. Okay. So for the box, so its center of gravity will be like this, which is a CG, and the complete weight will act in the downward direction through this center of gravity. Okay. But centroid, this term, it is used for the two-dimensional objects, generally called this as a plane lamina. Okay. Just consider a paper, a rectangular paper. Okay. So this rectangular paper will have its center of gravity exactly at its geometrical center. That means if you connect the diagonals, you can directly find out the centroid. Okay. So centroid, this term is used for the plane laminas. So we will find out the centroid for composite plane laminas. Composite plane lamina means, so this is one standard geometrical shape, that is a rectangle. Okay. But suppose we don't have the standard geometrical shape, but a shape which is composed of different standard geometrical shapes. Okay. For such composite shape, we can find out the centroid. So if you have the object like this, and suppose if you want to find out what is a centroid, okay, so just by observation we cannot find out its centroid. Okay, so such type of figures, they are called as composite lamina.